So you're looking at the video of what happened moments ago in Dallas, Texas. I want to bring in Neil Franklin, if you're with me, a retired Maryland State Police Major. Neil, tell me what's happening now as you look at this video. What are police doing to secure this scene? What's going on?
What happened? An officer was shot.
Well, one of the first things that they have to do with this active shooter situation is set up perimeters. An outer perimeter, inner perimeter, to where they believe the person or persons may be. And this is probably going to be an all-night operation. It looks like a large area that they have to search, and they have to do it systematically, they have to do it cautiously, and it's going to take a long time to do it in an attempt to find the shooter or shooters, and that's another problem. They don't know if it's one shooter or two at this point. And I think it's important that, although it occurred in the immediate area of the protest, very close, I think it's important that at this time we not, directly link it to the protest until we find out more from the police as to exactly what's occurring.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an all-night operation.
All right, Neil, stand by. Again, I want to get back to those live pictures. And do we have a reporter from KTVT? Is he still up? Jeff Paul is reporting for them. Let's listen into Jeff Paul's report.
It's not something we're accustomed to seeing in the country, let alone in Dallas. Definitely a feeling as if there's a sort of a different directions. One thing I do want to stress to you is if you are in this area, stay away from this area. If you come up with your cell phone, I know that they want to do that, but it is just making the job for officers out here very difficult. We are to safe distance right now. We are listening. We are doing our job to try to share this with the public, but please do not come out here with cameras and get in the way of what's going on. It's a very dangerous situation, and we do not know what's going to happen next. So as we send it back to the studio, Doug, with any new updates, you can still see the officers out here in a very defensive position.
So that is reporter Jeff Paul from KTVT. We've been getting information from our affiliate KTVT and KDAF as well. And again, you can see the officers there trying to secure the situation. We're being told that it's verify whether or not the shooter is still actively in that location and secure it. And at some point, they will probably send a team in to go after him. Whether it be him or more than one shooter is still unclear. I was just reading a report, I believe it's
what was going on. So
downtown.
Right.
Hey, Michael Batista, thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you're safe. Michael, one of several people right now who are here evacuated to this area, this section of Delo Garden Park, which again, this is where this all started.
Kids to the protest because she believed that it would be peaceful, and in fact it had been. And then when chaos broke out and the gunshots were heard, they all got separated for a few very frightening minutes and only got reunited because they all had cell phones. Thank goodness they were able to find each other. Somebody who described himself as a former military person said he heard someone fire back with what sounded like an AR-15. That may explain the other shots that we were just hearing. One witness says that the shooter was strategic and described it as sounding as tap, tap, pause, tap, tap, pause. And then everybody just started running. And you saw the crowd that was there earlier, Lawrence. You can just imagine what that looked like.
Yeah, it's, Cal, the crowd seems to have done everything that the police would want them to do. They seem to have just gotten out of the way as fast as possible.
I think there was a realization that this was a very different situation than any of the protests we're seeing in other cities. That second location, again, unconfirmed reports, is the Omni Hotel, and it's about a half a mile. That's where you're seeing that video of people stream. They're streaming from that protest site away from the Omni Hotel, which police have now closed.
We're going to have to go to the scene. We have Scott Friedman. He's a reporter with KXAS in Dallas. He is on the scene. Scott, what is the situation there?
Are trying to get information as well. There's not much information to be given. You can see because they are struggling to try to get the news as well.
Shooters being up high on a building. I just talked with a witness a minute ago who was describing one of the officers who was shot. He was standing near that officer when he was hit. The witness described about 60, he thought about 60 shots fired when that officer was hit. This is just one location. There are a number of other locations. We have police right now. We've seen militarized SWAT vehicles right through the street just a few minutes ago. And there's an area around El Centro College. We seem to have zeroed in on a shooter there, Lawrence.
Scott, are you saying that you spoke to an eyewitness who saw a police officer shot?
Yes. I have a witness who was standing near an officer, and he said it was one of the first couple of shots that he heard, where the officer fell to the ground. Officer was taken away injured. The witness was not sure of the officer's condition. We have heard reports as we're listening to police radios as we were headed into the scene here of other officers shot as well. This is just one location where there was a report of an officer down. Again, we have to caution that early information based on radio traffic, police radio traffic that we were hearing on the way into the scene.
And Scott, when you hear that police radio traffic, is there a way to know when you...
Cover officer wearing a vest being taken inside?
All right, so there's a lot still to figure out. You're going to stay there. You stay there on the scene and keep stay on your social media, and we'll keep following you to figure out what's happening there in Baylor.
Yeah, and when a police officer is taken, based on past experience, any police officers wounded in the hospital, many officers show up in support of the officer, his or her family, and it's a big gathering point.
Well, I'm talking about many officers, some at the hospital.
Look at the aerial scene in Dallas, Texas tonight.
Downtown Dallas.
Look at it. Look at that. It is very clear that terror was unleashed on that city in one way, shape, or form.
This is not a safe area. They're trying to block off some of the cross streets near us where, again, they're concerned because they don't know. We don't have a clear picture right now of one gunman or more. They're trying to keep people back and away from some of these buildings where you've got rooftops here in the area.
Scott, please stay with us. I want to go back to Melissa Rayberger. Melissa, do you have more details?
Yeah, Lawrence, just a little bit more witness information from the scene, and I'm reading it off the Dallas Morning News. Apparently, this protest had been so peaceful, in fact, that police officers were posing for pictures with protesters, and people were commenting on how wonderfully peaceful it was and what a good learning experience it was for their children. As a matter of fact, the Dallas PD had been live tweeting the entire event with pictures and talking about where the protesters were. And I noticed on their Twitter feed that right around the time this happened, I don't think they've tweeted anything since.
Thanks, Melissa. I want to go back to Cal Perry here in the studio. Cal, this is one of those situations where social media could be faster in with many bits of information than we may get through traditional sources. Is there anything developing on social media that seems ahead of the curve on this information?
Yeah, and what Melissa was just talking about, some of the officials inside the Dallas Police Department are now asking the media to stop broadcasting any locations of police officers. Mm-hmm. So that's just one more indication that this is an ongoing situation and that this...
Based on the shooting that happened, that two wrongs we've seen in the society make it right, and so that just saddens me that this kind of thing's happening.
What was the officer's mood? Like, were they urgent? Were they panicked?
They were panicked when they were driving, but when they got here, everybody was just calmly taking him back.
They were really loud.
Yeah. And what did people start to do?
People just started running. Like, people stopped, like, are you sure these were shots? Like, could this really be happening in Dallas? I think that's what was on everyone's mind, because there was a little bit of a hesitation. And then everybody just started sprinting, like jumping over planners, like running as if, like, the cops are not going to stop. And they didn't stop. They actually didn't stop until they got to my apartment, and they probably were still going.
The gunshots were still going?
Gunshots were still going after 4 blocks.
And how long did it take you to get 4 blocks?
I would say a good 5 minutes, but that's in panic mode, so maybe 3 or 4, just a couple minutes.
And did you see police officers doing anything? What were the police doing?
There are police officers stationed everywhere along Main Street. I think they were ready just in case anything were to happen. With a crowd this size, I imagine that's why. But then as soon as I started hearing shots, it really confirmed that they were shots, and I started to see cops hopping in their cop cars, turning on their sirens, and turning around the block.
Okay. Amanda, thank you. We're glad you're safe. We appreciate you joining us here on scene. And Amanda Queen, who was down on the scene near. Hey, Amanda, are you still there? Is Amanda still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
You said, Amanda, what is this Central College? Tell us about this area.
So this is the Central Business District, but this is the Main Street District, probably the hottest part of downtown Dallas. And all these storefronts are on Main Street. Kilo Garden is right next to the Westin, and right next.
Need it, but you want to be there. You want.
So it's kind of a popular place in downtown.
Okay, so we saw the writing on the building they were saying outside of that said Central College.
Yeah, it's like a community college, but.
Okay. All right, Amanda.
This is fine.
Amanda, I want you to stand by real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Blow has some information. Charles, tell us what your daughter is.
Well, no, this is a
friend's daughter.
Yes, this is a friend from that I grew up with from Louisiana, and I have no way to confirm this. She just sent me a message saying my daughter is in the Omni Hotel. There is a shooter in there. Cops moving them around spot to spot to hide them. And I said, wait, right now? She says, yes, 6 officers down. I don't know what that means. She is texting me. Her battery is low. They're in Omni Hotel. Yeah. I don't have any way to confirm that or not.
So listen, we don't have confirmation on 6 officers, but what I will tell the producers who are doing this is that I get a text from Ben Ferguson, who lives in Dallas, and he's also saying 6 officers heard as well. So we can get Ben Ferguson on the phone. Ben knows the area. He's from Dallas. He's lived there for a while. So we'll get Ben Ferguson on the phone and see if we can get information from Ben, who is a frequent contributor here on CNN. And again, one of Charles Blow's friends is saying that they're at the Omni Hotel there. They're being moved around and being told there's an active shooter. What CNN is reporting